Everyone wants you to shut up.
And yet I won't. Case in point.
And we are back. I just want to thank everyone for their positive feedback, all the support, and it was amazing. And I look forward to the journey that we're going to take with this. So enough of that. With Halloween being there right around the corner, I believe it's a good time to kind of speak about some superheroes. And for the superheroes specifically I want to speak about, you saw in the thumbnail, I want to talk about Daredevil. But before I go all into the reason why you want to be Daredevil, I do want to talk about two schools of thought. I believe individuals, especially around my age, really personify themselves into superheroes, which I believe is a mentally healthy thing. I believe it's really good to personify yourself into a character that makes you a better person today and for the future. Now, I believe there's two schools of thoughts, like I said before. There's Spider-Man and Batman. For Spider-Man, it's kind of the one end of the spectrum where it's happy, it's amazing, it's go-lucky, it's the kind of spiritual childhood energy you're still thriving to be every single day. While you have the Batman-esque part of it and more gritty, it's kind of when you're down, it's when you're sad. And I believe they're two ends of the spectrum. And personally, for myself, I'm a huge fan of both. I want to think very much of a Spider-Man person, but I feel in the middle, in between, and I kind of get lost in that, in being a superhero. I found a clip from Natrix Nate.
And a lot of us, we like to say, oh, I'm Batman, oh, I'm Superman, oh, I'm Spider-Man. But we only want to deal with the benefits. We do not want to talk about the negatives.
That he explains this perfectly as to why we can't be these superheroes. There's a sense of responsibility. There's a sense of an ass kicking that we can't even take as a regular person. Maybe you can take it, but honestly, you probably can't. Spider-Man, super go-lucky. I like the simplicity of Spider-Man. I think his charm, his quirkiness, his smarts, I don't go through the down bad of the regular responsibilities that he kind of goes through, especially that I'm out of school. I'm not a teenager anymore. It's something I can't relate with too often as I used to. And now that I'm getting older, you kind of get a little bit more gritty, you get a little bit more experience, you get kind of that wear and tear on your body, unfortunately. And
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
You kind of become Batman-esque. It's dark, you're doing the work, you're getting gritty, but at the same time, you're not Batman. Personally, for me, I'm not Batman. I'm not rich, I'm not Bruce Wayne, I don't live in a mansion, I don't have a bat cave, I'm not dark and brooding. It's basically the two ends of the spectrum are kind of two different playlists clashing. And I feel a lot of individuals are in my similar role where you're in between, falls, it fluctuates and becomes really confusing because you don't know which one to identify and you don't know which one you want to be. If I'm going through this dissociative identity disorder between if I'm Batman, if I'm Spider-Man, if I'm whatever, if I'm Man-Man, who's in the middle? Who's this kind of amazing in between? And I believe Daredevil is the best. I think his character as a whole allows us individuals to become good with being in that middle without being at the extremes. What I believe with Daredevil is that he can be as gritty and edgy as Batman, feel very human like Spider-Man. I think he's a doable peak that's like right in the middle ground of everyone can relate to. He doesn't live in a mansion, he doesn't swing over skyscrapers. He's a blind lawyer that works a 9-to-5 job and then has to fight crime at night. He's as real as a person with powers as you can get, right? There's no tech, there's no spiders, he just lacks eyesight. And he walks the same streets as everyone else. He literally bleeds like everyone else. If he takes a beating and he gives him out. What makes him real? What makes Daredevil real? Daredevil isn't super optimistic like Spider-Man. He's not untouchable like Batman. He's somewhere in between and he's a broken person just trying to make the best out of the day. And I think that version of heroism that actually feels real, feels like the story that we live every single day. Daredevil feels real because he kind of doesn't know what he's doing most of the time. And it's very similar to us where we're in a constant struggle between what are we going to do in the future? Has something in my past affected my present? What can I do now to help myself the next day? He's in this constant battle against justice and vengeance, faith and doubt, right and wrong. And I think this makes him more human and relatable. Most of us don't live in these moral absolutes. Daredevil is that superhero of I'm just trying to make it through the day, and I'm going to figure it out.
Let me tell you something else, man.
But let me get this straight. I'm not saying that Daredevil is better than Spider-Man and Batman, but he's a good alternative. I think he's a great middle ground to go through and be Daredevil. You can be Spider-Man, that's totally fine. You can be Batman, that's amazing. But most of the time, you're gonna want to feel somewhere in the middle. Daredevil is that middle. I think he needs to be in that conversation where they want to be him. They want to be, that's totally me. That's literally me. And I think when people need to see Daredevil, just because he's not marketed as well as Spider-Man and Batman, but the character as a whole, he's just a regular guy and he's doing the best he can every single day. I believe that Batman is who we fear to be. Spider-Man is someone we want to be. And Daredevil is the person we are. It's the individual that we actually can be. It's a hero that's attainable, but doesn't get the attention that he truly deserves as a character. Matt Murdock and Daredevil, they're very similar as characters. One is fighting against the justice system as a lawyer, and Daredevil literally fighting the crime. They're coming hand in hand rather than being two separate beings, because it allows the personification of two symbols into one person, which kind of allows us basically to remove these symbols that we want to be and just be ourselves. I think that's pretty cool. So I'll see you again for the next conversation and the next topic we're going to talk about.